All right, how you guys doing? This is another episode of Bl3rd Talk, and this episode is titled, no, this is Inyuasha. So we're going to actually talk about Inyuasha today, and if we get time to talk about other stuff, we're going to talk about the webtoons becoming anime. But our main focus of today's conversation is going to be Inyuasha. Everything about Inyuasha. The new anime that's coming up, where the fuck are they? Honestly and truly, if you actually been reading some of the anime, you're like reading some of the story, you realize that the parents really aren't in the kid's life. So the question is asked, where the fuck are the parents? And who the hell fucks Shishomaru? So many questions, no answers. We want to find out. So how you guys doing? We're going to take the time to actually watch and do all of this. So hey, today episode we got me, Brandon, we got BB, and we got the illustrious Amber, aka Evie. Say what's up, everybody.
Hey.
Hi.
So what's going on, y'all?
Pulling over that ass too far.
So I want to kind of start off with something that we talked about the other day. Me and Amber kind of got into it about Inyuasha, and we talked about the toxic relationship of Kagome and, well, Inyuasha himself. And honestly, truly, I'm just going to kind of go on a little small rant here to say that I honestly understand Inyuasha is toxic. He was very immature in the anime, but I think he matured over the time of the anime. But the thing about it is I want to paint this picture for you guys. This is a dude who's been alone his entire life. Not his own mother was the only person that ever loved him. Demons didn't want him. Humans didn't want him. He had really no real friends. So the first person to ever show him any form of kindness besides his mother, I mean, hell, even his own brother wants him dead. So the only first person to show him any kind of kindness besides his own mother was Kikyo. Then Kikyo and Inyuasha end up getting betrayed by, or getting set up by Naraku, which is more Kikyo's fault than Inyuasha's fault. Inyuasha's different. She shot an arrow at you, you didn't see it, you went to the village to steal her jewel. Kikyo, on the other hand, you bought the jewel, you got cut down by this man, he took the jewel, you went back to the village and watched him steal the jewel again. Why did any of that not make sense to you? You would have been like, wait, why is he stealing the jewel if he already had it? Those are questions you should ask yourself, but regardless. So then Inyuasha gets pinned to the tree, and he gets revived and awakened by Kagome, who happens to look like Kikyo. The only woman this man has ever loved in his life is Kikyo, besides his mama. So you have to understand, this man has legit women issues. So Kagome comes into his life, and he falls in love with her. Kikyo comes back into the picture just to kind of be a bitch about it. This whole anime is basically him maturing through the facts. And honestly and truly, as he grew older, he became actually more mature about it. But to agree with what Brandon once said, I think Kagome and Inyuasha's relationship was somewhat toxic. Like they just did not know how to not be jealous over each other. So I'm going to hit it off. How do you guys feel about the Inyuasha series, the new series coming up, and the relationship aspects of the whole Inyuasha series?
Who wants to go first?
Well, wait a minute. Who has the most to say?
I mean, I think we all have a lot to say.
I think Evie and Jay have the most to say.
I think we all got a lot to say. Oh God,
I'm gonna chime in.
They just want to throw us out there. I mean, okay, so you said yesterday your favorite character was Koga, Evie.
I didn't say he's my favorite. I was like, he's like could be the best character for Kagome.
Why?
What do you mean why? Like all the stuff he tried to do for her, he saved her, he was giving her flowers, he wasn't yelling at her like Inyuasha was. No, I think he should have got with that Hojo guy back in her time. That's who I think she should have hooked up with.
I think they would have actually made a pretty good couple too, and they probably should have hooked up with, but you know.
But then the movie would have been over with. I mean, the series would have been over with.
Exactly.
True.
They would.
We need character development.
He was like, I have future goals. He had a plan to take care of her, and she was just being dumb. Like, oh, I like this abusive boy over here who always leaves me for some ghostly girl who don't even like me. So it's fine.
Damn, that sounds personal as hell. That sounds so personal.
But she did.
But I like the fact that Kagome didn't go for the eat. Kagome likes that's the word I'm looking for. She likes a challenge. And the Hojo is just all like, let me make up your bed, massage your body.
What's wrong with that?
I mean, some women like, nah, nigga, I don't want to pussy with. I don't want a pussy with dude.
Well,
I want a guy that
Hojo
He
was pussy
wasn't.
whip. Hojo was pussy
No,
whip.
he
Come on.
wasn't.
he was
Hojo-
pussy with when it came to Kagome.
His name is Ho.
Hojo was pussy without the pussy. This man didn't even get no pussy. He got a whiff of the pussy
Right.
and was like, "Yo, girl,
He was
I'm gonna
done.
drink. Let me
Right.
drink your bath water. Let me just let me just get a sniff." And you watch it like,
she was,
I don't even remember this dude, bro.
you get on my damn there.
I mean, I understand you got mad at Inyuasha, but Inyuasha had to deal with a lot of issues. Like I said, I'm trying to paint that perspective of you. Like, yeah, the dude was a childish motherfucker, but this dude only had really 2 women that ever loved him in his life, and one of them was his mama.
I mean, I get the women issues, but come on, dude. Like, all the pussy he could have had throughout his whole entire revived life.
At one point, you gotta stop pointing fingers and be like, maybe I'm the problem. And
But
not
he-
just be like,
but
oh,
he did
nobody
that.
loved me.
But he did that. That's because I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
like
he did.
episode 500.
I mean, well, damn, that's called color to development, isn't it?
No,
Not
it
at the
shouldn't take
last
that damn
minute.
long.
Right, that was the series was almost over. Like, oh, now I got a clue what's the problem. Like, that was
Wait, I don't have to be a piece of shit.
like, it's over. The series is over.
No, he did that. Okay, he did that in a few episodes. He did that in an episode when they was fighting a band of 7, and they all almost died. They had the whole episode was titled "Inyuasha Cries for the First Time." Seriously, like the man sat there and like realized like he was being an idiot. He almost lost the people who, and it wasn't just him about to lose Kagome. He almost lost people who was close to him, like his friends. He realized how important it was. It was like a level of maturity. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say excuse all the shit he's doing, because I agree with Brandon when I say the only real mature relationship in that entire anime was Sango and Moroku. Dead ass.
It really was. I loved them so much.
Moroku was a manhole though, and he didn't have no issues with like that shit was so funny though to me. I love
He
the
had to
episode.
mature too.
He matured as well. He realized he loved Sango, and he decided to stick by her. But what's funny though was when Moroku stopped being a womanizer, his past started catching up with him. This nigga would go to a village and some girl he promised to marry and have kids with like 6 years ago. Oh, Moroku! Oh, god damn it! Like,
Right.
Y'all know who his ancestor was?
who?
Brock from Pokemon.
You stupid.
But you know what? They do kind of favor. Now that you say that, though, it makes sense.
I mean, it does make sense though, actually.
Brock don't be like groping people though.
He only
don't.
gropes.
He
He
just-
only gropes Sango though, and I mean that's his woman.
He only gropes to save, and he only saves to grope.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, that
You
wasn't
know what? That
that
might be
wasn't
true.
your
That
shoulder.
might be true.
My bad.
Right. Oh, God. Y'all are retarded. So, okay. So, can we discuss how nobody seems, or y'all want to say this towards later, nobody seems to know who Shishomaru's child's mother is? Because we all know he didn't get
Duh, we all know it was me.
Y'all not gonna have this argument on the show. Y'all not gonna have this argument. So wait. Let me ask you a question. Can I ask a question? This one. Ask a question. This one. So, my sister actually does not like Shishomaru. She thinks he's a hottie. But me and her was talking about Inyuasha one day, and she was basically saying she said this. She said to her, Inyuasha and Shomaru are literally like 2 sides to the same coin. Mm-hmm. And I kind of agree with that. At first, I was kind of wondering, like, yeah, they're both, the son of the dog demon, yada yada yada. She's like, no, they're both really immature as hell. And I was like,
They are.
and I had to, and I didn't see it. I didn't see it until I was watching the movie Sword of the Honorable Ruler,
Yes.
when these two
Yes.
niggas are literally fighting each other, and the nigga trying to kill them, and they trying to fight each other, and this nigga
I knew Shishomaru was a child when he literally said, "I don't have anything to fight for," and thought of Renin jogging. He said that shit out loud, trying to make himself
He's
feel
like,
like
I
he
don't
didn't
have
anybody.
feelings. I don't know what those are.
This nigga, you right. He be,
Full power attack.
Why you always
yo,
lying?
so he be saying that. He's like, I don't care about Ren. Ren gets kidnapped, kills everything in sight. be like, I don't care about Ren. Ren gets killed. That he kills everything in sight. Oh god damn, this nigga can't. He kills everything in sight. I'm just like, oh my god, you out here really trying to hold yourself like you don't give a shit, nigga. We all know you give a shit, but like. My sister put it into perspective. She's like, she's like, how I know this nigga's mature? She's like, he like a regular fuck nigga from the hood. This nigga is fighting for shit he can't even use. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, he wants a sword he can't even hold. That's true. This nigga like, give me Texaiga. Nigga, you can't even use Texaiga. Why did you want Texaiga?
If he stopped getting rid of his arm, he could have used it.
No, he could have tried.
The thing is, I would
he destroyed a whole mountain when he got a regular arm. I was like,
but the arm wouldn't work.
All
the
right.
arms don't last long because they're not, because like he's a demon, so they burn up. Like that's the point.
Here's
Like
the thing. Would you prefer a sword? Would you prefer Texaiga? Or a sword that can literally control life and death?
I would prefer someone that control life and death, nigga. What the hell?
Right.
Like, he can
But he was
literally
so
bypass
childish.
attacking you and send you to hell.
I never understood Sesshomaru's like desire to have Texaiga. He's like, I want to be a powerful demon. Nigga, have you not seen what you've done to people?
yeah, I was like, what are you trying to prove? Like, you already strong.
Like, I get why Inyuasha needs Texaiga. We get why Inyuasha needs Texaiga. It's where one is called Inyuasha.
Because
it's his show.
If I hear Iron Reaver Soul Stealer one more fucking time,
Oh, you know how happy I was. You know how happy I was to see Blades of Blood. I was like, yes, something different.
listen, I'm like, it's scratch attack. That's all it is. Scratch attack.
Yeah, nigga, scratch.
Yeah, I was about to say, just walk up and say, yeah, nigga, scratch. That's all you're doing. Do you steal their souls? Is that what you're doing, Inyuasha? Are you taking people's souls with those little claws of yours?
No, man, you know what it was. He saw everybody else with a cool attack, and he decided, I'm going to name a scratch Iron Reaver Soul Killer.
He's like, I can't just say scratch. That's not cool. They're all going to laugh at me.
These niggas gonna laugh.
They're like, what the hell? What kind of name is scratch,
Nigga comes
man?
out, like at least Blades of Blood was more realistic to what the fuck it actually was. I'm still trying to like, do you just like, does it turn like, do you take people's soul? Does it turn on fire? Do you like, what do you do?
He's like, oh no, I just scratched them, you know.
Nah.
That's all.
Bro, I was so, I mean, like, I love Inyuasha, but I was so happy when I see new techniques, because they played, Inyuasha was good at playing out the same ass move over and over again. We talk about spamming the same attack. It's always this Hanako, wind tunnel, wind scar. Y'all niggas need to
Right?
learn.
Everyone gets on Ichigo's case for doing that. I was like, no, watch Inyuasha. They did it first.
I mean, the only motherfucker, even Shippo had attacks. Sparks fired, and then he jackass.
Leave my man Shipple alone. He tried. He at least tried.
I'll give the nigga an A for effort. He be fighting battles he couldn't even win. Like when he fought the Lightning Brothers and hit that nigga with that spinning top. I was like, okay, Shippo. And that spinning top didn't do. And then Kenobi was like, yeah, I thought you didn't have attacks. He's like, it's just an illusion. And then it disappeared. I'm like, oh, y'all niggas might want to run.
Oh, you got. We're gonna see Shipple all grown up, maybe in the new
Maybe
series.
I'm hoping.
I'm hoping
so,
he's
Maybe
grown.
he got a glow up or something.
I'm hoping the
Shipple
Shippo grows up. He's actually like a strong demon and not a weak ass. That's my biggest fear. They introduce Shippo for like the first 2 episodes. You think he's cool, and then he starts getting his ass beat again. I will be mad as fuck. I won't be mad.
He's the same size.
Yo.
Oh, I'd be mad. I'd be mad as shit. Cause did you
Demons
see the
don't
episode with
technically
his father?
age like humans.
Wait, that's true. But not this. What if he's not only the same size? He's telling the stories like he defeated Naruto. I can see that motherfucker doing that. But there was Kagome and Inyuasha hiding from Naruto and his great power. Only I could save the day. I can see that motherfucker doing that shit. Oh my shit. Listen, I have so many questions about the new series coming out. One of the main questions I'm really asking is, where the fuck are the parents? Because apparently Sesshomaru is missing, and Inyuasha and Kagome is missing as well. Their daughter grew up in the human world, or she bounces back between the human world and the feudal era, but her parents have been missing her whole life, literally. That's the story back. The main girl is looking for her sisters. So Sesshomaru doesn't have one daughter, he has 2 daughters, and they're looking for each other. They're next to each other, but they don't know. So you see the picture of that boy with the sword? That's not a boy. That's a
Which
girl.
is it's really a girl.
Yeah, that's the Summer's other daughter. So they're looking.
But she prefers to be in boys' clothes.
Yeah, they're looking for each other, but Shishomaru is missing. So my question is, literally, like, is this like demon nature? Y'all motherfuckers, y'all grow the fuck up, you have kids, and you're like, all right, fuck it, you're on your own now, get a job. Nigga's not even halfway out the womb. He born the first day. Get a job, you moocher. Stop fucking paying your way. Nigga just got here.
The baby's like, what I do? Good lord.
Right.
Milk or something?
A fucking, even though the baby starts crying, you can cry, you can work.
Someone said that Naraku came back and that Kagome like sealed herself something with Inyuasha.
How did Naraku came back? I need more information. Naraku
Bees.
This nigga said bees. You mean you mean murder
Like,
hornets? You mean a murder hornet?
Yeah.
The murder hornets
I
and
can see
shit?
that. Yeah.
I mean,
Yo,
like, it wouldn't surprise me when Naraku came back though.
Do y'all think Moroku, one of Moroku Sango's kids, would inherit the wind tunnel?
No. Well, it
I would
depends.
think so.
If Naraku comes back, because when they kill Naraku, the wind tunnel disappeared.
No, but like if he comes back, would one of his kids get it, or would he get it back?
Bro, I would be.
Probably
because I
his
think
kids.
it's. I don't think so because isn't it only supposed to be bestowed upon the sons in the family,
Yeah.
not the females?
Yeah, the sons. But here's
He
the
had
thing.
3 kids.
But here's the thing. By what we were reading, this is it's not. It most likely isn't Naraku. It's a different enemy, and the enemy may have something to do with the fact that time is so fucked up. Like it touches on like how the two worlds connect in the first place. They're not supposed to be able to do that anyway. There's a gap in time. There's a fracture in time, and I think that the story touches on that more, like how Kagome fell through that well. That kind of shit shouldn't have never happened to begin with. You know what I mean? So maybe like if Naraku comes back, cool. But I'm gonna be dead ass. If Naraku come back, I'm gonna be kind of like unimpressed because I'm tired of it.
I would be surprised because he never stayed dead in the first place.
I'm not saying
I'm not gonna be surprised.
I'm not gonna be surprised, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna be unimpressed. Like I'm so tired of Naraku. Naraku was a punk, man. Naraku was the sole equivalent of that nigga who sits in his house all day and sends his kids out to do dirty shit, and then be trying to claim shit. Like that's how he is. He the nigga that never fights but has his whole crew fighting for you, but he always gotta act hard. But if you fight that motherfucker one-on-one, he trying to get niggas
He's
to
just
jump.
one of those kinds of villains. Not every villain goes out and does it for themselves. Not unless they have to.
That nigga only fights you one-on-one if he thinks he's going to win. And that was like the one time when he was trying to absorb Shishomaru. He was so sure of that battle. He was so sure of that battle. He was like, yes, you will join me, Shishomaru. Low key, sometimes I think Naraku was really gay because all this nigga ever talks about is absorbing. He never absorbs females. In fact, he kicks females out of his body, but he never absorbs female. But he always ready. Come on, think about it. He threatened Kagura all the time, but he never once absorbed Kagura. He threatened to kill Kagura, but never once absorbed her. This nigga snatched Onigumo in his body fast as shit. Come back to me, my nigga. This open. He just took his robe off and everything. Got butt ass naked. Come here.
That was pretty intense. Like, it didn't need all that.
Yo, you really like you have to think about it like it's shit like that. So let me ask you this question. And this because this reminds me of a story. Because this is like I was watching this and my mom walked in on this scene and she was like, Jay, what are you watching? Like, have you ever been like watching an anime and it had like one of the weird ass scenes and somebody in your family who just doesn't watch it or understand it walks in and they just kind of like, nigga.
What is going on?
Yes.
Wow, is this what you like? I was like, it's not what it looks like, I swear.
I promise you it's much worse.
So my thing is, all right. So as I'm trying not to do a lot of talking, my thing is, What do you? What is
I love
y'all?
you. You're awesome.
What are some of the things you guys kind of liked or disliked about Inyuasha, the anime?
I loved everything about him. The only thing I hated about him was the fact that, nigga, like, you can't do shit unless pussy is involved. I mean, I know that's 90% of the anime, but damn. Ghost pussy, real pussy, it don't matter as long as it's pussy, you can do anything. Your mom get involved and you like half-ass and shit. So I felt some type of way about that. But other than that, I love him. He's the epitome of my heart.
You not wrong. He was getting his ass whooped by that wolf demon until Kagome came back. Now it looks like this nigga lifting trees and shit. Yo, he was getting his whole ass beat. And then Kagome comes back and he's like, I don't got time for you. Smacks this nigga with a whole tree. It's like, bro, why couldn't you have done that like 2 episodes ago?
What?
Like, bro, can you imagine? I would be, if I was Moroku, I'd be mad. I would be mad. I'm fighting with you. We losing the fight. Man, we getting our ass kicked. You have all this strength on reserve. You don't use it. You smell some pussy. Nigga, you done uprooted an entire great oak and slap a nigga with it. And I'm just looking at you like, bro, we been fighting this nigga for 2 hours.
I'm fighting for my
Bees in my
heart.
head.
My wind
I
tunnel
got
about to
bees in
swallow
my
my whole
arm,
body.
man.
Exactly, I'm about to die.
This nigga poisoned this shit. Like,
I'm about to die, mama.
yo, baby, you real for that one, cause that shit do be happening. He be getting his ass. Wait, but it's not just him, it's her too. And I swear for the love of God, especially I love Inyuasha. If I got to the point like if I gotta hear, if I swear let's do Inyuasha, I gotta hear Kagome, Inyuasha, Kagome, Inyuasha. I am gonna mute the TV. Just put that shit on subtitles. I'm gonna be like,
Oh, so you gotta hear the horrible.
Wait,
I'd
so hold
rather
on.
hear it and what I can understand.
The dub wasn't bad. Like,
It
for
could be
real.
better.
The dub was pretty good. I think Sesshomaru's voice was perfect, and like I think all the characters' voices were pretty good, even the wacky ones, like Totosai.
yeah.
Totally.
That was my favorite character on the fighting game now.
I think Inyuasha probably has one of the best dubbed animes out there. It really does. Like
Yeah.
it does.
Right
like,
up there with Yu Yu Hakusho.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy Bebop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It has. I mean, like let's be fair, and ladies, I'm gonna say this. Besides Sesshomaru's looks, that man's voice made your guys go crazy. Sesshomaru, even I was kind of like, yo, who is this nigga when he first came on scene? He was just,
Sesshomaru's and Naraku's voice, it melted like butter, I swear.
I swear, right?
I'd be like turning up the volume, like, oh, everyone be quiet.
See,
Okay.
and this is proof what I used to say to my sister. I said, Sesshomaru Naraku's voice is the epitome of the nigga that's doing you dirty, but you stay with him because he got good dick. That's really what that is.
I gotta cancel that because that's don't talk unless he's talking shit. That's the best thing. He don't talk unless he's talking shit. And he degrading you, and he beating the fuck out of you, and then he'll be like, oh, so where's my food? And then,
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, it was my fault. It's right here.
There's something wrong with y'all.
You walking around with a bloody nose, busted eye. You can't fucking open your left eye, and it's just like, yes, daddy, yes.
How dare I try to have this life? I know what's best for me.
I'm so concerned for you guys right now. Do we have to talk about
I
this?
really am. I feel like this is a cry for help. This is more so a cry for help than like a nice thing.
I'm like, we're gonna have viewers over here like, wait, do those women need help? Like,
Are y'all okay? Like, we're fine.
Y'all good?
We can thumbs up. We're okay.
talking about getting your ass,
Please don't call the police.
talking about getting that ass beat and shit. I mean, to be fair, I don't think Sesshomaru is the type of person to put his hands on a woman. Naraku definitely is.
I think he would.
I think Shishomaru would if
I
like
think he would.
No,
Yeah.
I think
what was the
Shishomaru.
little girl name that
Ren.
came through? Ren. It wasn't it an episode where a female like tried to kidnap Ren or something, and then Shishomaru literally beat her ass on the mountaintop?
Like, did he
that was-
slap her or something?
I
One-
think he slapped her.
No, so there was
and then-
Be
no.
coming around the
It
mountain
wasn't
where
that
she
one.
comes.
It was a
Like-
woman. It was a woman who died,
God.
became a demon, and she stole Tetsaiga to prove her love to Shishomaru, and Shishomaru was not having that shit. Shishomaru took that as an insult. She's like, I stole it. She's like, I stole the sword to prove my love, and he's just like, bitch, I don't need you to steal a sword from me. I'll steal the sword my damn self. How dare you think I need help?
See, he has no holds barred about beating the fuck out of a female.
Right.
I mean, at least it's about
Fucking sword.
At least it's about equal opportunity. You can't be mad at that. he would equally beat the fuck out of you.
Oh god.
Shishomaru was that shit. You knew he was that shit when Kagome tried to get involved, and he was like, Kagome, stop. He would straight kill you. Stop trying to help me.
Right?
He
Oh,
told-
yeah,
Goes
my
like-
God.
Goes like, no, you don't have to do this by yourself. Shishomaru, stop. This is your brother. And then it's like, no, just bow
Like,
down.
it's
Just
okay.
back the fuck up. It's okay, yeah. I got
Leave them
this.
alone.
Bro,
And
he
it was
did-
so many times.
Okay, so to be fair, I do kind of feel they did Shishomaru dirty though in the anime.
How?
So, okay, so like, bro, like his father left him nothing, in my opinion. His father left him nothing. Even with the Tenseiga, it eventually was meant to be Inyuasha's. And finally when Shishomaru actually like
Yeah.
unleashes the Tenseiga and start unleashing some pretty cool ass techniques with the blade, it's ultimately like, oh shit, Shishomaru Senseiga's about to become beast. Nope, that's just a part of Inyuasha's sword, nigga. Yo, and then Tosai gonna get. Go, but no.
No, because like when you think about it, I mean, Inyuasha was a half breed. Like I think their father was like, "Oops, your mother was supposed to abort your ass, but since you didn't." that's how I feel watching it. Your mother was supposed to abort your ass, but since she didn't, you still my bloodline. I can't have you out here getting your ass beat and claiming that you my son. So,
And you watch her losing a fight.
Demon.
And you watch him losing the fight, his dad from beyond the grave. Nigga, get your hands up!
Boy, you better get back up.
I will kill you from the grave. Get your ass.
I mean,
Don't tarnish the bloodline like this.
the thing about it though is that's kind of how I feel they was doing Inyuasha, because every time you turn around, I feel like they was really just shitting on Inyuasha. They'd be like, your father was this, your father was that, your father was like,
Exactly.
damn nigga, y'all just making this nigga feel worthless. This nigga just trying to live his best life out here. And y'all over just telling him how pointless and useless he is. This nigga like, they're always compare, like nigga, this nigga is half human. You can't be trying to compare him to a nigga that's as big as mountains, like literally.
And how the fuck?
How the fuck? No. I was.
I missed the episode. Well, I can't. I know they showed it in the episode where they went back in time and showed what happened to his mother.
Yeah.
But I still can't wrap my head around how his dad and his mom even like. How did that work?
Sex?
I mean, I see. Yeah, like how did that?
Yeah,
work?
his dad has a human form.
Yeah.
The same way
Yeah,
Shishomaru
that
took on a
big
human
one's
form.
like his dog, his full dog.
Yeah, and I missed it. I would love to have. If I've seen it, I don't remember it. It's been a while, and I need to go rewatch the show.
It's the
But-
movie. You want to talk about it's the movie?
Oh, the movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know
Sword
what
of
made
an
me
Honorable Ruler.
upset? You know what made me upset? That he was fighting the... I forgot the guy who liked Inuyasha's mom. The bad guy. He like set the castle on fire. And
Oh,
then,
that nigga.
And then his dad went to go fight him. And they're like fighting in the burning building. And he tells his mom, Inuyasha's mom, to leave. I'm like, she's injured. Like, why don't you go take her to safety? Like, you guys could have fought later. Like, he didn't have to die that way.
It's
It was
feudal.
so dumb.
It's feudal Japan, and that's men. That one is all about this archaic men. It's like, my wife is running in the winter cold night with my freshly born baby. But no, I'm gonna die in this fire with this human nigga. Come, nigga, let's have at thee.
I was like, man, like, he did not need to die like that.
Yo, you right. That was a worthless death. It really was. Like, this nigga
I
died.
would have been like, dude, I don't have time for this. Don't come to me. I'll call you.
But
We can fight later.
But see, that's kind of why. That's kind of why I'm mad at Sesshomaru. Sesshomaru blaming his mom and Inyuasha for the death of his father. No, nigga, all that nigga had to do was leave the burden building. He could have.
Right. He could have left. He had ample time to leave.
This nigga controls 3 of the most powerful swords in your entire world. You tell me this nigga doesn't know how to walk out of a burning building? Really, though?
I had to pause.
Can literally bring him back from the dead.
Facts.
Talking about that.
Yes.
In fact, he just used it to bring Inyuasha's mom back from the dead.
Did he bring Rin back?
Yes.
As well, like
No, that was Sesshomaru who brought one back. Yeah.
But still, what if hypothesis, let's say that somehow or another, Kagome felt like, oh, I want to have a big family, loving family here in the demon world like I do in the human world. So what if he somehow was trying to figure out how to bring Inuyasha's father back to life and the mama back to life, but in order to bring somebody back, you have to give up a life. And let's say that those two, Kagome and Inuyasha, are in their father's graveyard cave in some kind of entranced sleep while Inuyasha's father and his mother are out living their best life. And they just said, fuck them there.
You know what? Knowing how dumb the plot is sometimes, I can see some stupid shit like that. It makes no damn sense, but just for the hell of a story, we give our life for yours. Then we're not a family, nigga. What's the point?
right, I'm like, you just defeated the whole purpose now. Ain't nobody coming to the family movie now. Yeah.
You're like, fuck them dead kids.
Kids. Nobody told you to mess with our grades.
They gonna be showing up and be like,
I was just thinking, did Inuyasha have like any aunts and uncles? You would think he would have family somewhere.
nigga, if he had any aunt or uncle, they probably just owned his ass as soon as they found out that she like, you gotta look at the kind of family she was with. Her whole family just owned her ass. The only reason that nigga stuck by her because like Hojo, he was just pussy whoop. Princess Minayuki, I can't believe you had sex with a demon. I will protect you from the demon that you make a baby with. Nigga, none of what you say is making any sense. Like, she's already chosen
she was raped.
Dude, she's already chosen a demon over you, dog. Like, she's having his kid. Like,
Oh my god.
that dude, that dude was delusional.
Right, a dog. Like, oh my god. Out of all things,
dog. Really?
Bro, can you imagine? Can you imagine the conversation? It was like, so you're sleeping with a dog? No, he's half human. I mean, but like he's still half dog though. So is his dick like, I don't know, a dog dick? Like let's be realistically, nobody reacted the way they should have reacted in that old anime. Like your daughter brings home a half demon with ears. You go touch the ears. Oh my god, they're so fuzzy. That's not the reaction you should be having.
Right. Like, oh, this is normal. You know, she is part of our family. I mean, he did some shit like this a while ago, so you know, it's normal.
One of my favorite episodes in Inyuasha is the episode during like the school festival where they brought back like the demon food and it started coming back to life and shit. And like the demon watermelon just gets on the stage in the middle of their play, and Hojo's dumbass get up there with the plastic sword. I'll protect you. what makes me laugh what makes me laugh the hardest is where the fuck did Inyuasha come from? How did he know? Does this nigga has like someone's near my woman radar? Cause this man this man didn't come out of nowhere. He came crashing through the ceiling. Like came.
Oh, Kagumi's in trouble.
This
Where
man
the fuck is she?
came crashing through
Miles away.
a whole ceiling. Like, these are the things I want answers to. Like, is the teachers not pissed off? Because I know if I was like principal of the school, I would actually be looking at the ceiling like, what the fuck?
Ain't nobody going to prom this year. Nobody.
Like, no. If this is the kind of shit y'all do, I'm not improving no more school budgets for fucking plays, okay?
The fuck is this?
It irritated me, like, how calm people were with seeing half the shit going on in the normal world. You got a nigga running on trains in a red kimono, and you think that's normal? This nigga barefoot running on trains, and people just looking outside the window like, oh, this nigga running as fast as a car. That's something you see every day.
White guys can't jump that high, but cosplay is looking crazy this year.
It looks so real. How do you do that?
These are the things I'm asking questions about. Like, y'all, like the No Mask episode. Y'all fought a whole demon in a construction site. Nigga, no one saw that?
Niggas on their Hercule Satan.
They're like, nah, that's not newsworthy. We don't
It was
need that.
mirrors.
That's
Shit got me
Mirrors and
crying.
Look at this
fireworks.
cat over here.
Shit got me,
Fire-
Beautiful, majestic.
bro, man. Shit had me
Here's
crying.
the fireworks.
I be saying, man, like Japan, like it happens a lot in animes too. Animes always have like the most convenient time when no one's around to see shit in the most populated days. Like that's the funniest part.
Yes.
It's midday. Niggas should be outside. Oh, what happened to the whole demon battle in the playground of all places? There's not a single fucking person is here to see this shit.
Or if someone does see, they're like, oh, I understand. I won't say anything. Like, what?
Right.
You gotta say something.
At the middle of a school, in the middle of the school day, while everybody's in class, and everybody's just like, oh, they're fighting in the courtyard, and we're just gonna look outside like ain't nothing happened. And then we're just gonna continue on the next day like this happens all the
Like
time.
nothing happened.
Yo, I'm sorry. Bleach was infamous for that shit. Bleach
Yep,
was
all
infamous
the
for that
time.
shit. And even though like they was fighting in the spirit world, these motherfuckers would do real world damage. And Bleach would just be like, it's regular explosions for no reason. Happens every day. Nigga, where?
The citizens are like, oh, okay, stay indoors. Okay. That's what we'll do. That'll save us from the explosions inside.
And
Alright,
you can't
so-
tell me nobody didn't. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna ask Amber a question, but I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead. I was about to get off topic and start talking about Bleach, so please go ahead. Yeah.
No, so we're gonna get it. That's kind of part of the next topic. So I was gonna ask like Amber. So what are some of the things you loved and hate about Inyuasha?
I didn't like how so many characters came on and we didn't get to see them again.
Yeah.
That was like another thing with Bleach going on. But I will say I love their soundtrack. At Infinity, I hope they come back and do the new series.
Oh yeah.
Inuyasha soundtrack.
Okay. I like that. Brandon, what about you? Love and hate?
About Inyuasha?
Yeah.
I love the storytelling of it. Like, one of my favorite episodes was the Pied Piper.
Oh, that was
The
actually a
Demon
pretty good
Pied
one.
Piper.
That was actually a pretty good one.
I wanted that little chick to go to hell so bad, bro. I was waiting. I wanted that little bitch to get dragged to hell so bad. I was like, do it. Open the minds. You would have thought I was watching Cowboy Bebop. I was like, keep the minds open. Come on.
Yo.
But
did she deserve it though? But did she deserve it?
she deserved it.
How
yes.
did she deserve it? She was a little kid.
Fuck them kids.
This nigga.
There ain't no statute of limitation of being an asshole. Fuck them little niggas. Send her to bruh.
But she
I
learned.
was a kid myself.
She
and
learned
I
her
knew
lesson.
where she deserved to go.
She
Too
learned her
little,
lesson.
too late.
She said too little, too late.
Learned her lesson. We in the school. Lesson. Lesson. I got a lesson plan for you. But one thing I hated about Inyuasha, honestly, Naraku. He kind of, after a while, he was a great villain, but after a while, it was the same thing over and over again. You know, and when you see somebody write a villain so strong, you don't know how they're gonna beat them, or you feel like when they finally do beat them, it's bullshit. It's that. The same thing with Yawok from Bleach. Like, they gave this guy so many powers, so many ways to get out of being killed, and then kill him, and I'm like, ass policious.
Don't spoil anything. I didn't read the manga.
But see, my question to you is, I think the way they beat him was actually not super ass. I mean, it wasn't as climactic as I was hoping, but it wasn't as policious. I mean, like, what irritated me about the way they beat him is they didn't build enough lore around the Shikon Jewel. I mean, the Shikon Jewel was a constant in the story, but there wasn't enough lore around the powers inside of the jewel that had a living force for the final episode to be like, oh, the Shikon Jewel is really alive and everything I've been doing is in its wishes. Nigga, what the fuck? Like, that threw me. That really threw me because it was like, I would have loved to actually seen that. Y'all could have shown that more. Y'all could have shown like Naraku kind of arguing himself. In fact, y'all had the perfect premise for it because we understand Naraku and Oniguma was two different like personalities. So y'all could have been like, Naraku was the personality born from the sacred jewel, and boom, that would have created a whole lore behind it. Like I said, they didn't really touch on the lore of the Shikon Jewel enough, and then they made it a final factor in the fight, and it was just like, that's daring. So I kind of agree with you on that one. Like, yeah, they built him up to be super powerful. So, what last Inyuasha subject before we try to jump on to something next? What was your favorite chapter in Inyuasha? Like the series, the fights, your favorite chapter of it?
Besides that, the introduction of Banryu and the Band of Seven.
Lovely. What about you, ladies?
Go ahead, Amber.
I don't know. You guys have to come back to me on that one.
Alright.
BB, you can go.
So, call me petty, but I loved it when Kikyo and Kagami would go at it head to head. And every time Kikyo would come back, it would be like, I got your man and you can't do nothing about it.
But
Because I loved it. Because it showed how vulnerable, because sometimes Kagami would play hard to get. Like, because she felt like, oh, I got Inyuasha. I don't have an adversary. He's in my pocket. All I gotta do is tell that motherfucker to sit, and he's mine. But it's kind of like, as soon as Kikyo came through, she forgot that she could use that and let him roam free of charge. Like, I got your man and you can't do nothing about it, bitch. And I'm not even real. I'm a fucking toy doll.
So I gotta say, there was one time where I feel like Inyuasha, a few times when I feel like Inyuasha didn't deserve that, and I'll go into that. So I'm serious. So my favorite chapter was like how Brandon said, the Band of Seven, but it was also the Band of Seven leading up to the Mount Hakare chapter, and I feel like this was the highest point of Inyuasha in my opinion. It was the best storytelling of the entire series in my opinion, because there were so many twists and turns and so much suspense, and they involved every character. And the Band of Seven wasn't just a regular character, wasn't just regular enemies that stuck around for 2 episodes and then got killed. The Band of Seven became characters you actually begin to know. You know those names. You start learning about them. You learned about their history. You learned about who they were. You actually begin to like I like Banryu, man. Banryu was that nigga.
Yeah.
Banryu was that nigga.
When he walked into the palace and they had his sword on display, and it was like, it took 13 men to carry it in, and he was like, oh, I know. and he picked it up. It was like,
he was
yeah,
like,
I'm taking it though.
he was like, "You took good care of it. Thanks. I'm gonna kill all of you."
Y'all really shined it up and everything.
Let's test
This
it
total
out.
works.
So I mean, that was like the best part. I mean, with and Saint Hakuje, how he was his ultimate sync, but he was the evil. That was the part that kind of got me. They was like, he said, and I'm like, yo, how is Naraku hiding in this mountain if nothing evil can get in this mountain? But the nigga who's supposed to be good is actually evil. And that's the funniest part. Like, that dude, it was so much. That's the story where Moroku confessed his love to Sango. Bro, I felt like Mount Hakure was the finale for the series. That's how well that fucking part of the chapter was written and told. I mean, even when Naraku re-revealed himself, that shit was king, man. When it was like, we're not in a mountain, you're in his fucking body. Like, nigga, y'all looking for this nigga. Y'all in this nigga, y'all in this nigga, yo. And then he came back whooping their asses. Inyuasha's throwing out the wind scar and the backlash wave, and he's like, nigga, Ed? Give me that shit. Hold up. Let's see how you like it on your side. I'm like, yo.
I got another favorite scene, bro. I'm sorry.
What's that? Go ahead. I think it's my favorite scene.
When Inuyasha turned into his demon form and Sesshomaru was about to fight him and Sesshomaru was scared.
Oh yeah,
that shit was beautiful,
bro.
Like, he was about to attack and he hesitated and he flipped like, what the fuck is this feeling? I'm scared.
Sesshomaru came up with the best line for that though. Sesshomaru was like, what was he said? He said, you know no pain, you feel no fear. Bro, the way he said that shit was poetic. I was like, yo. But that was the most poetic shit I ever heard out of Sesshomaru's mouth though, man. He's like, Inyuasha, you know no pain. He's like, you know no pain, you feel no fear. Like, that shit was like, yo, this nigga. And that was true though, man. But for me, one of my favorite scenes, and I'm gonna say this because I just kind of hated her, is when Naraku killed Kikyo. I was so fucking happy just to be pissed off when they brought that bitch back. I was so mad. They was like, it's this saint with all this mystical powers. I was like, oh my god, please don't be Kikyo. I swear to God, if it's Kikyo. It's Kikyo. Why? Let her die. Just let her die. Y'all Dragon Ball Z in this shit. Let her die. Just let her die. But at the same time, I felt the reason they brought her back was to show Inyuasha's maturity. Because Inyuasha went over there to Kikyo. He went on there and he's like, so you're alive? And she's like, yes. Were you worried about me? He's like, yeah, I kind of was. But I'm glad to see you're okay. He's like, thanks for helping Kagome. Then he left. That was the most mature thing. That to me was like the level of this man maturing. He went over there.
He didn't have to go see her.
He didn't. No.
He didn't have to go see her.
He just went to go see
Maybe
it was
to
true.
prove to himself.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. Because if he didn't, that was going to always be in the back of his head, like, damn it. Because at the same time, he felt like he failed to protect her again. That's the thing you also have to realize. This man felt like he failed to save her life, not once, but twice. But after he saw she was okay, and no, after that, he was like, he was fine. What pissed me off was he went back. He told her the truth. He told her everything that happened. And she's like, no, something else happened. He's like, no, that's all that happened.
Yeah, that shit pissed me off too.
That irritated me. I'm like, if this nigga go back to Kikyo, now you're to blame. Because he actually went there, did the right thing, came back, told you the truth, and you still just punishing this nigga. Oh.
What if it was her way of trying to get closer to Naraku the whole time, and if she knew the truth from the jump because it was a plan that her and Naraku had? The only problem was that she didn't know that Naraku was gonna kill her ass in the end too. Yeah,
that could be it too. I mean, like to me though, Kagome is a sadist. Kagome enjoys telling Inyuasha to sit, and you could not convince me otherwise.
That is true.
Dog, I would too.
This nigga what?
That
She
shit is
just
funny
be
as
doing
fuck.
it.
That
She
shit is
would
funny
just
as
do it
fuck,
for
bro.
no reason. Like
Bro,
she would do something a
Bro.
week ago, and then she would just say it. I'm like,
you
get
wanna
over
know
it,
the
God.
biggest,
And she
the
do it in
biggest
front of everybody. She makes sure she did it
Yes.
in front of everyone. Like, this is my bitch. Make sure y'all know.
that's what I'm saying. The greatest, the biggest truth to that shit, is in the movie Sword of the Honorable Ruler, when he gets taken over by I forget the name of that demon sword, the one with the dragon twister, and she gives him all those sit commands to basically break him free of the trick, but it destroys the necklace.
And
This
she makes
bitch,
another one.
no, she don't make another one. She don't. She goes and finds every piece of the necklace. This you have to think about this shit. That sick command was so powerful, it destroyed half that mountain. Some of those beads are buried under rubble. This bitch went through every bit of rock to find each and one of these beads to remake that fucking necklace. And then gonna laugh about it. Sick boy. Oh my, I was so mad. I was like, yo, fuck that bitch. Fuck Kagome. Queen of petty. Imagine a mountain collapsing on a bead as small as a pearl. You're gonna dig through that whole mountain to find every piece of those damn beads. Just to put that back on that nigga's neck, yo. Inyuasha did not deserve that. That shit kept me crying. I was like, this is wrong. All right.